We are going to be having a very loaded conversation today. It's about a topic that has left the country reeling. We'll have a cordial, amicable conversation guided by the philosophy that it is a mark of an educated mind to entertain a thought without accepting it.
Guys, we are back again with the best podcast in Kenya, and we have some wonderful participants. Please introduce yourself and say something wonderful about yourself or something interesting.
Hi, my name is Sharon Kalunge. I'm a content creator. I'm happy to be here, and I'm a girl's girl.
That's an interesting thing. Interesting.
Cool. My name is Chim. Yay. It's a based podcast. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Liliasha. Something interesting about me today is I'm not sure how far my violence will go today. I've just put a disclaimer. If I abuse you, Zola.
There is the devil
Violence
today.
in terms of words. Hey, let me just put it out there. I'm not going to be punching people.
So, as usual, I'm Zola. The interesting thing about me is apart from being light-skinned, I'm saved. I'm a born-again Christian.
That's very interesting.
Yes, thank you. Now, the topic for today is based on something that's been going on in the country. There have been an increase or a heightened sense of awareness in terms of ladies being killed by their presumed lovers.
So much of living requires trust. When you leave your house, you trust that you will be well. When you get in a car, you are trusting that most likely you will get to your destination. When you go to a club, when you go to a concert, when you go out in public, you are trusting that there's a level of safety that you will have. And if you did not have a level of safety and a level of trust that met a certain threshold for life, for things, for people, you would never leave the house. So how is it a reasonable expectation for women to not trust anyone? We wouldn't be able to live if we stopped trusting everyone. Truly, the only solution is that men stop raping us, stop assaulting us, stop killing us, stop murdering us, stop abusing us.
Men are killing us. Which men? Which men are killing you? Because as far as I'm concerned, mimi wanaume wako karibu na mimi, they are very protective. They are very loving and caring. So, just because nime refuse kujump kwa hiyo bandwagon, haimaanishi mimi ni pikmisha. Sio, wengine wetu watatushia kuwa picked. Wengine wetu hata we do the picking ourselves, okay? So guys, why are you people catching feelings on behalf of the dead? Victim blaming, this is a word you people are using constantly. We are just pointing out where the victim could have gone wrong. We are not blaming the victim, okay? The best thing we can do for the victim is put the murderer behind bars. Na siyo imehappen. Hii kelele mingi tunapiga, let's convert that into something useful. Let's talk to our women. Let's talk to each other. Stop blaming men and telling men, munawaambia nini? Kuna psycho sahi anapanga kuua mtu wake. Na sio lazima akuwe mwanaume, pia wanawake wanauana. I can tell you 3 men I know who are murdered by their wives before the end of last year.
And has caused a whole hulabaloo in terms of, is there something called femicide? Are there men who are actually just targeting women?
Femicide is a myth.
But that is the topic for today, and we will start this off with the first question for Miss Kalunge, and then we'll discuss it among ourselves.
I think what should happen is you should probably start by defining what feminism is. We need to have those clear definitions.
Can you define it, please?
So feminism stems from a movement that started that was about giving women the right to vote and eventually the right to work. When it was about the right to vote, it's called women's suffrage movement, started in America. Women were not allowed to vote. And it was not that women were not allowed to vote. It was only people who were eligible to be drafted to fight in wars that were given the right to vote. But women felt that was unfair and demanded the right to vote. So politicians decided, why don't we muddy the pool of voters by putting even the guys, put women who are not eligible for the draft, put men who are not eligible for the draft, men who have never fought to protect their country, put them in to vote. After that, the next big boom for the movement came with, I believe, the 20s or the 30s, when it was about reproductive rights, which was essentially just, we can't say those words on.
No, actually, not as in the 60s.
No, the racist lady. The racist lady, the one who...
That was in the 60s. The 20s is the one that was the suffrage movement. 60s was reproduction with the pill and all that.
Cool. So what most people do is they break it down to first wave feminism, second wave feminism, third wave feminism, fourth, and so on and so forth. If you talk to someone who tells you I'm a first wave feminist, they'll say, I just wanted equal rights. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being given equal opportunities. There's a very big problem with being given equal outcomes. So equal opportunities, all for that. Have at it.
Jimmy, you're going into now whatever, defining that thing. You're not defining anymore.
Cool. Yeah, so beyond that, feminism became about what? We don't need no man. Feminism became about, now it's morphed into man bad, man evil, kill all men. And you hear these sort of things.
You're going into something.
My bad.
Yeah. The thing is, what does feminism mean to you based on that?
So for me, feminism means that we're not trying to fight with men. We're not trying to take from men. Just that we're fighting for gender equity, for equal opportunities.
So, Chima's already said his bit.
Mazemi, I don't like that word feminism, to be honest. I'm always very much against it because I feel like we all have different definitions of it. So I don't know how I'll define it, but I guess just like, if for me it's equal in terms that there's not equality, not in some levels but in other levels. I don't know how to say it, but we're checky. Feminism is like just whatever the man is getting in terms of like salary, you know, those things. Like, just don't make me look like me and you are doing the same thing, like in terms of effort, but you're getting more because you're a man.
Director will put in a quick screen grab of the very definition of feminism.
Yeah, because me is Joanne.
What I'll say, for me, it's supposed to be just equal opportunity. Simple as
that.
What a man is allowed to do, a woman is allowed to do, that's it.
But it has to have some level.
Nuances. And those nuances are the ones that are really tripping up many people. So we'll go into that now. Is there a femicide crisis? Even that's a word I'd never heard about.
To define femicide as well.
I'd never heard that word in my life. I just heard it this year. Since this thing started, and I'm like, what is going on?
I don't think it existed. Because if you Google it, it's not like, you know, like you can Google gate and it will come like, what if you Google femicide, it's not looking like it's been there. It's like somebody just put it
Actually,
up.
Femicide as a term describes the most extreme form of gender-based violence. In 2022, the UN registered 89,000 cases of intentional killings of women and girls worldwide. 55% of these murders are committed by former intimate partners or perpetrators from the victim's own environment. Once again, director will have that.
You see, if you Google the day it's come, when you Google the word gate, it won't come like that. So that's why you notice it's like, it's not like a word that has been there.
So do you agree? Is there something like that from what is defined?
I mean, from the definition of how it is, definitely it is, because that's exactly what we've been experiencing for the past, I don't know how many, it's been weeks of just one story after another every day. So if we're going by what Chim has read and what is being shown there, then yes, there is a femicide crisis, a very big one.
What do you think, Sharon?
I actually watched a video yesterday on TikTok, and some lady was saying that according to police, 70 women have been killed. So I think, yes, there is femicide.
Let me give my point of view before Chim Ingilias. I don't think it's femicide. I just think it's a criminal. This criminality has become like worse this year. Even in, we were talking with Chim earlier, there's a guy who has killed someone in Fort Worth, Texas. A naked man killed
I've
a
seen
delivery
that
driver.
story.
And he was asking me what's wrong with Kenyans. And my thought process is, I just think these like stress levels are gone to another level where people are just acting out. And these are criminals. It's not only women who are being killed, even men are being killed. That is what people are forgetting.
In fact, normally when people tell you statistics and they say, 70 women have been killed, you should probably ask, versus how many men? Versus how many men? You would be very surprised to realize men are oftentimes twice as likely to get killed than women. So do we have a word for that? Is there a masculine?
There's nothing like that.
You see, now the thing you see the problem I have with you men now is because this thing has come out. I'm sorry that we are not being told about the men that are being killed. We are sorry. That's not on us.
Okay.
But the fact that we are being told and we can see and we can hear about the women being killed, it's not a fight. Stop coming to say, you guys don't know how many men are being killed as opposed to the women. It's not a fight, honey. Calm down. You know, like, sour, they're being killed. And that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry that at this particular time, right now, when we are talking about this, it's happening to women and we can see about the women. Now, when it's time, like, even if you guys want to say, okay, now, also guys, you need to understand there's a crisis in Kenya, there's also men. Show us. We'll fight for equal, both of all of them. So you see, the thing I'm having a problem with is even the way here Chim is saying, we've come up and we are saying 70 women is like, as opposed to that men. So I'm like, it's not a fight.
So, I will say this. What you said is not entirely factual because last year there were 2 or 3 very high-profile cases of deaths, suspicious deaths involving men. One of the cases involved a rally driver, and it's still under investigation. So I'm not going to say the name because it's still under investigation. There was no outcry. Companies refused to drop this individual.
They
refused.
did.
No, they did not.
The
They
babe
did
was
not.
dropped.
No, she was not dropped. And that was a huge sticking point because that's a year or slightly more after a guy like Shafi where he was dropped for giving an opinion. In this case, we are actually in a situation where it's a murder investigation that's ongoing. They refuse to drop someone.
Are you sure?
Yes.
You can check it out.
Another instance involved a lady who was married to a foreign man. And that guy's family came back and said, yo, the victim himself kept telling us, not just us, politicians and police, if anything happens to me, it is my estranged wife. Nothing came of that. Nothing came of that. Another instance, this one, however, was intimate partner violence in a homosexual setting. And that one triggered guys because when word went round, the first thing that all the feminists in Kenya did was blame men. And for me, a big problem I have with this situation is the fact that, it cannot always be when we have what you are saying is very true. We have a criminal culture. In Kenya, we have a criminal culture. It cannot always be that when there are crimes, we begin to say, let us divide them based off of genders. Because when you do that, you put me in a situation where you say, cool, you guys don't really care about when it happens to men. So why should I care about your situation?
But why aren't you fighting for yourselves? Because we are at this point, when you see this thing about the women coming out, the people who are coming on Twitter, even the march that is happening about the women, Mimi, I see anything about Femicide, I will repost it. I will talk about it because I'm fighting for my women. You want us to sit there and then we fight for you. We will fight for you. But why aren't you fighting for yourself?
I have a very good answer for this. Men know at the bottom or at the root of it that mwanaume ni kujisimamia.
No one's come and save you.
No one is coming to save you. That is one of the reasons why most men, if you see, it's very hard to find a woman who's been done for mob justice, even though she has done the same thing as a man. Today, about 3 or 4 men were done for mob justice, and they were killed. Women are normally protected by society. That's why it's very hard for you to find a woman, even if you go out in the streets and a woman starts being beaten, women will come and cover her.
Not just women.
Even men.
Men actually.
So how can we then go back and say, if you yourself can admit, even men would come through and try to save this mama, how can you then come back and say, those same men who make up that same society are targeting women? Actually, what it is Kenya has a criminal element to it. We actually have criminal elements. And the sad thing about Kenya is they are walking free.
Facts.
They are walking free. Be they the politicians who are corrupt, be they the it's just a culture thing, be they the guys who are stealing from their employers, the ghost workers, be they the guys who celebrate, the gangsters who celebrate stabbing you, or be they the guys who actively go out of their way to kidnap, kill, and mutilate. It's just criminal elements all around.
An additional thing, just so we can move to another topic. The reason why that word feminicide is a big problem is it divides, it does not help. It makes it look like us versus them. And that's something you guys have to get. if men don't protect women in society, you guys cannot protect
In
yourselves.
fact,
Yeah.
I like that you've said that. Just to second what you're saying, just then you'll take it on. Women's in society, in any society, the rights and privileges women enjoy, they enjoy them because they were given them by men.
Yeah. And let's go further to why don't women hold each other accountable? And that topic is raised from, like, there's something that's happening at the moment with a certain radio host, and no one has called for her for her to lose her job. But you can remember when a certain guy called Shafi, when he gave his opinion, as Chimas mentioned, he lost his job very quickly.
Like
All
that.
of them.
Why?
Was Shafi, Joe, and
Yes.
Neville.
Yet we also have another instance of another radio personality who allegedly slapped, or did she squeeze the testicles of some artists?
Yes.
No one called for her to be, you know who I'm talking
Yes.
about. No one called for her, no one called for you to be fired.
Why?
You actually actively cause grievous, that's assault.
And that's
assault.
And that thing, the reason why that's a big issue for many guys, and they look at it like this is hypocrisy. When a man is on the wrong, women come hard at him, not even women, feminists. Then they rail up other women, and men will also changia. When a woman is on the wrong, we never see that. There's no equal play. That for me is a big concern in terms of where is the fairness. If feminism is about equal opportunities, it should also be about equal calling out. You behave badly, you should also be called out like the men.
There's a question you
Yes.
asked
Yes.
about how women are like defending and all that.
Yes.
But we've always had the culture of victim. We've always been victim blamed, slut shaming, and actually, when you look at the comments on whatever has happened, everyone is like slut shaming, and it seems like the femicide is now a punishment to those that are.
Yes, exactly.
Can I ask a rejoinder to that question? If someone is corrupt, is that corruption shaming?
I mean,
No, it's not. It's
but
not
you see,
corruption shaming because
I think
it's
also,
already a
as
vice.
you guys begin to go into that, let's quickly define what slut shaming is. Slut shaming is accusing someone, usually girls or women, of being too sexual and using that as an excuse to humiliate, bully, or harass them. The reason slut shamers target people is to make themselves feel more powerful by putting other people down. This is a Google-based opinion definition.
who did that first part again?
Slut shaming is
Two?
accusing someone, usually girls or women, of being too sexual.
And actually, it's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be you actually go into that direction of where you're hooking up.
Yeah,
with
Google
women.
just became some
Actually, that is not
woke
supposed. That's
BS, man.
not
It
supposed
just
to be.
became woke BS.
And wait, I was just asking can you not? What's the difference between saying, by the way, giving an opinion that this person they're behaving, I don't agree with it. When did everything that if I don't agree with what a woman does becomes shaming? When I call out a man, like when Shafi was being called out for his opinion, there was no opinion shaming or anything like that. There was no man shaming. It was you gave out a bad opinion.
Oh,
It was a good
According
opinion
to
at
us,
the
it was a
wrong
bad
time.
opinion.
Yes,
no. What these Kenya's useless feminists, what they said was, oh, it's just a bad opinion. It's called absolutism. They just brushed it with a broad brush. And by the absolutism is a mark of a slow mind.
Yeah.
For you to refuse to actually digest nuance, for you to refuse to actually identify and digest nuance, you have to be slow.
Okay, even to ask.
Your take is nuance, where you say, according to you, it was a, just repeat what you said, it was a,
Good opinion.
Good opinion at the wrong
that is
time.
nuance. That is nuance. The problem was Kenya's feminists kept saying nonsense about, oh, just fire him. How dare he? Victim blaming, how dare he?
And I agree with that it was done, he did not do it in the best way, because even if you listen to this another famous guy who became a politician, that man used to give out nearly similar advice, but he does it in such a smart way, in a very nuanced way. Most people don't want very direct approaches.
I want you
It
to
runs
go
in the
back
wrong-
to that part. I'm ready for you.
I'm-
That part you're saying because someone is corrupt, eh?
I'm asking, where do we draw the line to when you're criticizing bad behavior or behavior you think is wrong? When did we cross from criticism to shaming? Why is it that we cannot criticize if a woman has done something wrong?
Is being a slut something wrong?
Yes.
Yes, we can agree. Actually, yeah, I think
You
it's wrong.
think
Yeah, I
it's
think
not
it's wrong.
an
It's
overall
wrong.
thing that
It's wrong. When you look at it from a religious lens, it's wrong. It's condemned in both the Bible, the Quran, Bhagavad Gita, even in what are these texts? Buddhist texts. wrong. When you look at it even from animist and African traditional views, wrong. When you look at it from the perspective of what's best for society, it's wrong. Why? Because you bring about something called paternity insecurity. What is paternity insecurity? If all these mamas are just going around being nyandua, because let's not lie, when people say ati mamas go out and make the sex, you're not making the sex. It's you are a passive participant. It's being done unto be. If that happens, I cannot trust that my child is mine. Mom, when utajua mtoto ni wa nani? Mimi siwezi jua. So then from a societal perspective, I will not do paternal investment. I will not invest in raising of these children. And when we look at the statistics of what happens when men are not involved in the family front, 80% of those kids get messed up.
That is why we've gone away from her.
Mm-hmm. The problem is only women are being blamed, whereas where the slut or the prostitution thing happens, it takes two people.
There's an analogy I love. Are you familiar with the analogy of the key and the padlock? What do we call a key that opens multiple padlocks?
Master key.
Master key. What do we call a padlock that's opened by any key?
But you cannot compare humans to padlocks.
It's an analogy. It is not meant to be taken on a one-to-one ratio. It's an analogy. And what the analogy is meant to communicate is a guy has to be masterful to be able to get different mamas. For a mama, all you have to do is just be there. There is no achievement.
Life has double
Life is all, even nature is full of double standards.
Just when I say that thing of justice, it's a double standard.
It's a double standard.
But it is what it
Me,
is.
I have a problem
Some
with
favor women, some favor men.
Just say.
that slut shaming thing. For me, what I was bringing out is because I know you're going to compare to, oh, this person is corrupt and this person is a slut, so we're going to say corrupt shaming.
Yeah.
If this person is corrupt, that's a crime. Being a slut is not a crime, honey.
Okay.
If I want to sleep with 59 men in one day,
Okay.
it is not a crime.
I
cannot be arrested.
This
for
takes
doing
us
that.
back to what I said. This takes us back to what I said previously, that all of you guys had overlooked. Women are given their rights by men. None of you challenge me on that. Sharon, do you want to challenge me on that? You want to challenge me on that?
Strength. I don't know. I
Now,
talk about
the reason I'm
matters.
saying that is, it is not a crime because the men of Kenya do not view it to be a crime.
It's all over.
Hold on. If you were born in Somalia
Or
and you
Saudi
were
Arabia.
considered a slut, guess what happens?
You'll be stoned.
Then it becomes a crime. Then it becomes a crime that is punishable by death.
But now,
That's a
why
religious
are
thing.
men
No. It's
condemning-
about the men who said, whoever the men in power said, Nyaje, we are not going to do any damage to mama just because she's loosey goosey. She's friendly with the poon. No.
But Jim actually have a nice analogy for her to compare to. Okay, let's remove that one. It's not a crime in Kenya. So that one I'll give you. When men are gays who are deadbeats are called out for being deadbeats. Do we say deadbeat shaming? No, we don't.
I guess there's just because it's not called shaming, but
That's my point. If someone does not agree with your behavior, that deadbeat may not think his behavior is bad, but people say you're a deadbeat. Now, he might say, may have given out kids and I'll move on. The same way now he believes that and he might not agree with it, the same way this lady believes that. It's about opinions.
Also, it needs to be said, because like I said, this is probably going to come across some feminists' screen, and that feminist is too dense to take up nuance. We are not at any point justifying the murder,
Of
be
anyone.
it brutal, be it less brutal if that's possible with a crime such as murder of anyone.
Yeah.
What we are saying is very simple. Whether you murder a man or whether you murder a woman,
it's a crime.
it is wrong.
Agreed.
It is wrong. My point personally, you feminist that is listening, is very, very simple. You cannot begin to give special status to a crime committed against a specific individual,
Doesn't make sense.
right?
Then create your own name.
You're not getting, actually, let me show you, you've said something very big there. The biggest problem is this. If you start saying femicide, it means that women are a special group of people.
Special class.
You're not feminist anymore because you said you wanted equal opportunity.
Now it's supremacy.
That's supremacy. You are not special. The thing is this, is a criminal. You should be actually calling out for police to deal better with criminals.
Yes.
Also, the thing should be, how can we help ladies avoid these criminals?
Because, and the reason for
criminals.
that, okay, do you understand why? Or let me ask you, do you feel the way Zola said, helping women avoid certain situations, certain men, do you feel that is victim blaming?
It is not, but now the problem is people are trying to justify why these people are being killed.
Remember what I said off screen, a multitude of our people are idiots. So you cannot then begin to say, because I've interacted with one idiotic, think of it like this. Imagine if I were to say, I interacted with one idiotic Kenyan female. Therefore, her and all the mamas from her tribe, all the mamas from her county are just idiots. That's when I talked about feminism just using a broad brush. That is essentially what that is.
What are you trying to say? Like,
Look,
as in your
there
statement
are
is in
people,
regards to...
there are people, and this is where director, you're going to put a video of some of the guys that we are referring to in the videos who are trying to justify, or screen grabs of guys who are trying to justify the whole what happened to this lady. I've seen it as well, where guys say, oh, they deserved it because they are allegedly, you know, we have to say allegedly, but in the quotes they just say because they were prostituting or fornicating. That seems to be the justification. At the end of the day, you say, some people are fuckwits, and there's nothing you can do about that. You can't start fighting everyone on the road, uko nje, who, when you interact with them, they tell you, yeah, it's justified. Pick your battles.
You know, there's something you had said when you had started, because what Zola had said, is it victim shaming?
Yes, I was supposed to come to you with that.
I believe it's victim shaming because, Chim, you're a father. You tell your child what to do and what not to do.
A father of a daughter, by the way.
And also a son. You will tell your son and even your daughter what to do and what not to do, right? If your son, aone mtu, tuseme, simplest example we always give anyway by parents, akienda kuchomeka na moto, utamchapa na atajua that thing is hot and they'll never do that again, right?
No, you do it once. Let me tell you, you do it once. If they do it again, what are they get banned? The land.
That's what I'm saying. So that's the same thing. Like, even when somebody else sees, like, even if your daughter sees your son doing that, your daughter will never go to that moto because atajua akienda hapo mimi nitachomeka pia, right? So the thing I'm trying to say here is, if we come up with this thing of femicide and we make sure that the people who have been called out and said this is the nitangaje commit crime anitaje
Criminal.
No,
Or the suspect.
The suspect, that's the one. If this is the suspect and then the investigation is done and he's found guilty, then there should be a severe punishment so that these people who are from this side, they see it and they're like, if I do this shit, if I do this, then this is gonna happen to me. And that's what I'm telling you. Educate your people. Like, let it be known. Stop telling me don't dress in a short dress when you go to town. I understand. No, because all these statements are there. I understand it's wrong. I understand even though you're saying kutembea town na simu even type, I understand it's wrong. But we need to make it like these people who want to commit this crime need to understand, before I commit this crime, the punishment that I'm going to get is going to be so severe. I don't want to do it.
Okay, let me respond.
In as much as it's going to be hard. I know you're going to say it's going to be hard. You can't control people.
No,
you can't do
what I was going to say. Well, do you know what the punishment is for smuggling drugs to Singapore, Malaysia, Dubai?
Is it life in prison now?
It's death. They kill you. Has that stopped people from trying?
They still do it.
They still do it. And those, they're called executions at public. People still do it. Even when they are shown a video of a public execution, tomorrow you'll hear certain nationalities from the west of Africa or certain people from Kenya, Kwanza Kenyans keep being caught, they still do it, right? My point is, yes, the idea of punishment is for it to be a deterrent. People will still do it. You know why? Because you can never get rid of the criminal element. It is part of the human condition.
But
Let me finish. Now, you asked something about victim shaming, like being told don't wear a short skirt. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, this is what I teach my daughter. While you're under my roof, you are going to follow the rules I've set in place that are meant to keep you safe. However, I'm not an idiot. I know she'll eventually grow into a point where she'll interact with people who will challenge that worldview and she'll want to challenge the rules. It's normal. Here's the thing I'll teach her. You are free to wear a short skirt if you want. I do not condone it. I do not support it. I'd prefer for you to dress modestly. That does not mean that dressing modestly will stop an evil man from attempting grape. In fact, even Junior is saying that grape.
Yeah.
YouTube is very punitive about that. But your responsibility is to control that which you can. The dressing modestly is not about avoiding grape. The dressing modestly is about self-respect. You respect yourself. You do not go walking in the streets with a gold chain or with your, what's the latest phone?
The
Samsung S24,
yeah.
you're walking around with it. You don't do that.
In Tomboy.
Anything of value is done what?
You protect
You
it.
protect it, you hide it, right? Modesty is supposed to be a level of protection. At the same time, I'm going to tell my daughter, listen, there are certain places where the criminal element tends to collect more art than others. That's not to say that there is no rapist at Sankara who just popped in over there versus all the rapists are at Grogan. No. But there are certain areas we know, for example, ukienda Grogan na utembea ovyo ovyo because
true,
watu ni wengi, utaibiwa simu. That is more likely than Sankara. Sankara mwizi labda ni moja. At an event, utaenda na bado simu utaibwa. But there are certain places that are more like things are more likely to happen than others. That is now where awareness comes in.
We're going into actually that thing.
Oh,
You're giving solutions and all.
All I'm saying is it's not victim blaming. For me to try and protect my daughter, for me to try and protect my loved ones and tell them, yo, don't do this, don't that. It's not victim blaming. It's me actually telling you, you need to move like you know there are predators.
Now, we'll talk about two things. There's next question is about what is grape culture, and is there something like that in Kenya? I'll start with you, Sharon.
Yo, define all of these terms.
Yeah, actually, and start with the answer to define, because sometimes some of these things you want to hear them from them, then you can define from the dictionary after they've defined it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I understand about
Don't say the word.
yes,
Okay,
what I understand about grape culture is people being okay with it. Like now, the issue of victim blaming comes back here, where when you go to report, they ask you like, why were you dressed? How are you dressing?
Why were you there?
Yeah, things like that. So it's there.
You think the same, Lily?
Yeah, I believe that's what it means. The culture, a culture is something that started and you felt comfortable with it and you continued with it.
Yeah.
And there's, as in you get like, so I feel like it's a culture because it's a constant thing. It's not only grape for women, grape for men too. So let's just put it out there. That it's okay. Like, it's okay to go and those are the cases that, it's not something we're going to deal with really fast unless we are so loud about it on social media.
Yeah, there is also a song, so in pop culture, a song in Kenya, which we sing along to, which says, I'm not going to use the exact words, but it says, he passes with those that are drunk and unconscious.
Hiyo ngoma naijua senior
Wale unit.
Yes.
Mi upitanga na zile zimebleki.
There's also another one by this Gengeton people.
I know that one also.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was, but it's equally very disgusting.
I think it was banned or something.
Yeah, it was
There
so
is another
disgusting.
one for last
Hiyo
year.
ya mumwaga bila kunini. Is that the one? Mi uweka bila. Is it Tarimbo?
I don't know. I think it was Tarimbo. It's done that it was even it had an issue with the Gaba. Yeah. Go on.
Cool. So by definition, rape culture is a society or environment whose prevailing social attitudes have the effect of normalizing or trivializing sexual assault and abuse.
I do right. Normalizing it.
So that is very interesting in terms of, even when I'm thinking about it, she has said something that I'd never thought about. When those songs and all that, that is very confusing to me because I'd never thought about that. But from my experience, people I deal with, there's no one I've dealt with who has actually been pro that. So I think about it and I'm like, I don't believe there's a culture, because a culture should be something that is heavily promoted. There you say there's a tattoo culture. Tattoo culture, you can go somewhere and you get it. It's not criminal. You get me? This other thing is criminal. If someone advocates for it in media, he'll be fired.
Even tattoo, you can't advocate for it in media. You can say, let's go all get tattoos.
It's
good. It looks good.
But you'll not be cancelled for it.
I mean, I feel like...
You'll not be cancelled for it. See, people have tattoos. It's not illegal. What I'm saying is, this is something, for me, for a culture to actually be there, it has to be most likely legal.
But like 5% of the
now,
people... You're
My-
like, you know, though you're saying that people around you don't advocate
Yes,
for it.
yes.
You're like a very small percentage, and you're not in
You've
that.
met people who do that.
I mean, I know people out there do it. Me, I do, because I think I interact with people like you who are hapo uko na akili, man. But there are people you can sit down. Even we see it in these movies, for the Kenyan movies that they say uko nje, the ones that I don't want to mention names because they look like I'm doing something bad about their movies. But a lot of the movies that are Kenyan based are like criminal based,
Yeah.
And if you listen to what they're talking about, for them, graping is not a big deal. They're like, oh, tunapita na, you know, for them it's a culture. It's okay. You get what I'm saying?
Listen.
There was a post. There was a post that was posted. I think just in December, a lady was in a wedding dressed in a bikini, and then I read the comments, and one guy was like, "Huyu msichana, this lady, I'm going to pull her behind the tent, and I'm going to grape her."
Actually, if you read Twitter comments, do you ever go on Twitter?
Yeah,
Like
she's
even
crazy.
Yeah, even like Nairobi Gossip Club. If some story like these ones are posted, just read the comments. You can tell there's a whole culture, because someone's like, inaweza hiki tu angalia ina nini nitapita. You know, like this girl doesn't want to do it, and if you want to do it to me and I don't want you to do it to me, that's graping me.
Okay, so there's no such thing as rape culture. And the reason why there's no such thing as rape culture is because it is not promoted. A culture must be promoted.
You're not promoting
No.
it, Chi.
Let me finish. You spoke and interrupted.
Sorry. Hey.
A culture is promoted. Whether, as you guys have put it, through movies, music, it's beyond. Do you know what normalization is? Normalization is, I can go to my father, to my uncle, and tell him, sure, I want to rape this one. And my uncle or father is going to actually teach me, groom me into becoming a grapist. You understand? Grape is a very shameful crime. What you guys are describing is small, very small capsules of society that are, it's called subculture.
Yes.
It's not even within the entire criminal world. It is a subculture within the criminal world where they actively say, yes, I want to violate a lady.
Yes.
Do you know how I can say this with my chest? When you go to prison, anywhere in Kenya, there is a totem pole, right? They are the valuable gangsters, the ones who actually made a lot of money from their crimes, or the most violent ones. And then there are the bottom rungs. Who makes up the bottom rungs?
The pedophiles,
And
the grapists.
because even among criminals, anyone who victimizes women is considered scum of the earth. What I mean to say is this. You cannot convince me that you have been in a university hall, in a class, where someone is going to make jokes, or even at your office, someone makes jokes about, hey, I'm going to grape this one, or hey, I'll force this one.
So that girl will be taken to HR.
Because the nuance is, whenever guys say that nuance, hey, ningepita na hii, the way men speak is, a guy is essentially saying, this is desirable. Is it distasteful? I'll agree it's distasteful.
It's locker room talk. It's really messed up.
It's distasteful.
Yeah.
It's not messed up, by the way guys talk.
Yes.
There's no energy behind it beyond, hey, ningevuka na hii. Basically, I'd want them to smash this. Right? That guy has not in any way shown his willingness to grape. That is a leap in logic. There is absolutely no one who can come and sit next to you ati usikie mse akisema, oh, by the way, that Chim guy, hey, Chim, hey, mse anaku, and they're just chilling with me. There's no way you could ever hear me say, hey, by the way, Zola, hey, that I heard you really did some work on that show. No.
Guys, actually, will not even deal with a girl that either.
Everyone will ostracize you because it's not in our culture.
You cannot do that.
If you say it like that, then I agree. It's not a culture.
What you can say, they say that it's a subculture of people, and that's why we keep on saying criminals.
Even I'll go beyond that and say, and I said this, the unfortunate truth, hata mkijam, Kenyans, we have a low IQ. Like, just go look up the stats. So sometimes someone will pass on a message. It's just that he's done it in a stupid way. Always assume, what's that saying? Assume stupidity before you assume malice. Mm-hmm. Always assume incompetence before you assume this person is out to get me. Because sometimes people are just useless at what they're doing.
I think that the reason as to why we're usually like that is because of the emotion. it's the emotions that come to you.
Yes, yes.
So if I see this is happening out here and I'm like, my God, and then somebody comes and says it's a rape culture, I feel like it is then a culture because I'm a victim. I'm a walking victim, like literally.
Yes.
Nikitembea tu, I am a walking victim. So you're just like, damn, there is a culture. And I think that's the reason as to why. For the first time in my life, I've sat down and I'm like, okay, it's like I've thought about it.
It's like matatu culture.
Yeah, it's like that's what I've thought.
It's
I'm like, it's not a culture then there's no culture in it. It's just
actually you're not going to be able to walk in this room freely.
Yeah, you're right.
And you want to know an example
I'll not
of
even
this?
have male friends.
Yes.
You want to know an example? Actually, first of all, I agree with you entirely. It's down to the emotion. And this is where people say, is it empathy or sympathy when you can put yourself in someone's
Empathy.
shoes? It's
No,
Empathy,
right?
yeah.
It's empathetic.
I'm sometimes a low empathy quotient individual, but I do appreciate what you guys are saying, that if I were constantly seeing victims that look like me,
Yes.
and in all honesty, in society, I know I'm not necessarily in a position to protect myself, then I would also feel some type of way. Like, honestly, it feels like I'm constantly being targeted.
And I have to add something here. You guys said you saw the comments, and the comments on these people who had been murdered, well, like they deserved it. Now, let me explain. Those people are speaking from a point of view as men. When a man is beaten and robbed from, and the man was not supposed to be in that place, men will laugh at him.
In fact, they even say, kwanza choma zaidi,
Yes.
tuchome wote.
Because
As
men,
a neighbor.
No. You do know that there is such a thing as rule of law. There is due process, right? I'm sorry to jump in here, but there is due process. You don't just choma someone.
yeah, so the man, what's going on is those men are reacting to it in terms of this person has put themselves in a position they should not be in.
I don't think that's the reason why.
The-
I'd
Let me
even
explain.
say it's just a low IQ response.
And the thing is this, let me give you an example. When I get into a situation where, like you've seen guys who Tumafare. Tumafare guys, those guys are not, there's no sympathy for
There is no sympathy.
because they have done something foolish.
Ni ujinga.
So that is a mindset for these guys. You're like, F around, find out. Now I'm not justifying
Fafo.
I'm not justifying the comments. I'm saying that's how men think. If it was a man who's been done for that, they will say the same thing. Umejieka kwa pale
Basically,
pabaya.
this is where emotional intelligence and in IQ, intellectual quotient,
Yes,
check in.
yes.
Because, there are those intrusive thoughts that we all have, like,
Yes.
you don't just blurt them
Yes.
out.
Like your
Yeah, like you see,
that chick.
and a good example is one of the ladies that met a very violent, very unfortunate demise. Before information came out, everyone was like, oh, she was a call girl, and everyone's reaction that shocked me honestly was everyone's like, yeah, they deserved it. Kwanza now, next thing is we are going to go after, it wasn't even we're going to go after it, sasa wataendea our mademon and a road trip for free.
Yeah.
You're getting? Now, the problem with our mademon and a road trip, the problem with that sort of state, that sort of sentiment, is you get to realize most Kenyans are just low EQ, low IQ.
Especially EQ.
Because what is that? You cannot justify, and I remember having a conversation with someone online on Telegram. I was like, you cannot justify someone's death simply because you don't agree with
They live
What
their
they've done.
their lifestyle.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, because if rules change, if rules were changed kidogo, you might find yourself on the outs, on the ends. Because, for example, labda mse anasema hivi ucha na miraa. And if rules were changed and maybe we got into some serious religious laws, they'll say, you're taking drugs, so you deserve to die. You can't do that.
And the funny thing is, both those situations that we know about all happened with criminal elements. We have, from the evidence we have gotten, the first one is a well-known scammer. The second one, even the pathologist said, this is a professional.
Yeah.
You even said he's never seen
Yes.
anything
Come
like
across
that.
some narrative.
So that is not normal.
That's
This
not
is
normal.
extra normal. Both of these people are not normal relationships. That's actually something we have not said.
That is how
We need to say
Are they even relationships?
They're not.
Yeah.
That's why now
There's a
thank you.
transaction, yeah.
Let's go further. Is there a criminal explosion or an explosion of misogyny?
There is both, because now when people comment, it's like they're influencing others to keep on attacking women.
But have there been any attacks like that? Because honestly, the ones that have shook us are ones that have come with criminals.
that was so bizarre.
They were so bizarre. Even this pathologist is saying, I've never seen anything like this.
And they seem to be connected. I feel they are connected.
It's possible. We are stretching them. Maybe.
Are you guys familiar with the concept of memetics? Memetics. It's basically ideas and behavior is infectious. It's like a virus. So basically, if I'm a criminal and I see that guy did a crime that got him notoriety, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to try either to mimic what he did in order to achieve the same level of notoriety, or try to one-up him, right? That is why you'll find whenever like there's a crime, for example, people being drugged. Like there was a time when you're saying, there was a time Michelle was a real problem, and men were dying,
and there
was no outcry about it being a gender-based.
It was a
crime.
okay. It was a gender,
but it was gender because
gender-based.
But the thing is, it was mimetic. It's basically I see someone did something, they got away with it. It infects me. I think maybe I can get away with it, or in another twisted way, maybe I can get even more famous than that other individual. So that's how these ideas keep. It's like a virus.
So should we not? Actually, the thing is, you're thinking something I thought sometime was like, should we not put these things out? Should we not? But like, you see, like the news keeps reporting this all the time. I was like, is it because now I feel like it was happening? Now it's just like it's in the limelight.
No. There's, I will admit, there's a sort of explosion right now because this is what has really gripped people. So if you're a criminal and you are going to kill someone, most of them think I might as well do it with a bang, right? What is currently what everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
Let's do that. The guy is sick in the head. That's what they're thinking.
So should we not post it? Sorry. Should we not like? You see, I not post it, but you see, like the way every day literally every day there's a story about it.
Are you guys familiar with the saying?
Should we not do it?
Are you familiar with the saying, forewarned is forearmed? I believe it. Report about it, and this is where I tell you guys what I'm going to teach my daughter. Safety starts with you. Forewarned is forearmed. At the end of the day,
Tim, don't go there because this is your closing remarks. The thing is, not for real, this is closing remarks. And just add something small. I think the reason why this is getting Kenyans reacting to that is, number one, our economy is garbage. People are trying
angry.
You guys are angry. So you guys are trying to get out of that mood of thinking about the economy. Number one. Number two, it's a confluence of the way modern relationships are going. We talked about last week ashao culture and all that. The way women are rolling, the way men are rolling. It's that confluence. So people are debating. Is this what Kibi was talking about? Is this what Shafi was talking about? In fact, I'm going there right now. It was Shafi right.
Sharon? Do you believe there's a role that men play when it comes to addressing the situation at hand?
So I think most of them are like they are just the victim shaming again. So they are blaming whatever is happening, and that encourages the perpetrators to continue.
Is there a role they play? Yes. Not all, of course, but some. Especially at this time, I've seen a lot of men saying, let's stop saying. And I like that most men now, the educated ones, let me just put it out there because some of them are not educated or emotionally EQ. They'll say that, yes, there's this problem, and he'll tell the men, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But also he'll equally tell the ladies, there are also things you need to protect yourself from.
That's not what I was doing earlier.
Yeah, so I've called you an educated man. Be happy. So I do believe there's a role that men are playing, but it's a very small percentage. I wish more men would come out and say, I wish Chim would so much on your Instagram say, I tell my son this, I tell my friends this, that you guys would sit down and say, I told my friend Zola this, and Zola would say, I told my friend Chim this. Like itakwa, there's a conversation between you. You're not just gonna sit down and talk about nyash, like there's more to that.
First of all, if a guy is putting it on social media and saying, I tell my son, I tell my friends, avoid such people.
Why?
Avoid those people.
Avoid those people.
Someone who is virtue signaling has zero virtue within themselves. So they have to loudly and publicly espouse the virtue. Let me explain to you why. Zola, have you ever sat down and have I ever had to tell you don't kill?
No.
Do you have a body? No, you don't.
I don't.
Have you ever had to tell me, bro, don't go rob from a bank?
No.
I don't think I've ever robbed from a bank. Some things are just common sense. I will teach my child. Is all. Do no harm, don't harm anyone, but protect yourself, right? I don't have to start writing on social media. Niaje, I stand with all the feminists. There's nothing as despicable as a male feminist, by the way. Those people are usually very dishonest. They're doing it as a sexual strategy. If I can portray myself as not being a threat, maybe Lily will view me favorably. Avoid those people.
But
You should be
that's the
able to
exact
just
same thing you're
judge.
doing when you're sitting here.
No.
You'll sit here and
we are
tell
having
us.
a conversation.
That's exactly what they're doing. I have
This is a
conversations on
podcast.
social
This is a
media.
podcast, you know. It's not the same.
Imagine
I don't have to
people
tell
do
my
that.
boy. But let me tell you the truth. If I had to tell my boy, Niaje, don't grape.
You're not friends.
My nigga, why
friends.
am I your friend?
You're not friends.
Why am I your friend? Because that tells me the minute I leave the room and I leave my sister here,
She's in trouble.
if I have to warn my sister about you, why are we friends?
Yeah, that's why.
Why are we friends?
That's why I know. What you see me I'm
Right?
talking about, like sit down. I know Zola, there are times you've catered a babe and this babe doesn't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Then Chima je kwambia achana, wachana tuna. Like what don't force issues.
You know, let me even shock you.
We do that even on the podcast.
Let me even shock you. I don't even need to be told.
Yeah.
I have so much pride as a man. If you don't want me, I bounce quickly.
Your loss.
Your loss.
It's not that
You-
you.
yeah.
not
My
many
presence
people
is a
like that.
present.
And even let me shock you. Let me even take it further. Who are the popular men who have big channels? Kibe was one of them. Amerix. Those two guys, go and check their stuff out. They normally tell you if the mom is not interested in you, bounce. And they have a large
Go
following.
work on yourself. You're
Yes.
clearly not that nigga. You're not
Yes.
the nigga you think you are.
That's the one that's the
But
typical
clearly
thing.
you are
No,
not
you see,
ready to work
the role
on
men
themselves.
have is ultimately to listen, and this is something I need to state very, very clearly. It is not my job to protect anyone who is not under my purview. It is not my job to go out on the streets and protect a random individual. You know why? I have children depending on me at home. I have a wife depending on me at home. Fuck do I look like? Dying, leaving my children, and then I'm told, but at least he died a hero. My nigga, this is not Disney. This is not
Actually,
Disney.
even about
Your security is upon you. Move smart. My security is, do you know how useless I'd be as a man if I thought I could outsource my safety? If I thought, Nyaje, because I'm here, najua sida kwa hapa, sid ndo atanitetea. I'd be useless as a
in
man.
fact, even,
I have to move.
let me give a nice answer for this one, Chin. That's shikazi it. The guys who are put for Mchele. Do men come out and say, women, tell those women who are put in Mchele to stop doing
Yes.
this.
Yes, they
I know
do.
they
Men don't do that.
They
Don't
do.
that.
Women don't do that for men. I
We
don't
don't
know.
do that.
I don't know.
What do you mean? It was our discussion saying,
No,
was there
no,
guys don't do
it has
that?
never-
We have never had such a conversation.
There
Even
was.
as she's-
And I
even
even
like-
she
she
knows.
knows. She knows.
Guys,
She
when that
knows.
story came out, do you remember when that story was published on news? The story from Cheles. Men were there saying, "Mate madem wacheni kufanya hiki kitu." Ama what are you telling me? That's what you're asking.
Was there a campaign, a huge campaign?
Oh,
leaders
I
do?
Did you sit down with your friend and tell your friend,
By
by
the
the way, usieke mse mchele?
You see,
never
I'm
did
the
that.
vacuum
No.
Cheles.
Exactly.
Thank
Your
you.
friends don't.
You've got to the point.
And you said that you actually
She's not
had
got the
that
point.
conversation.
That's it.
And I looked at you, bombastic side eye.
Oh, I
That's-
get what you're saying
that's the
now.
thing, that's the
Okay,
issue we
I
face.
get it. I get it.
Because if you, and that's why I told you, when you phrase it as femicide, you lose a very large ally. You make men feel like we are the enemy,
Yeah.
while it's supposed to be criminal elements.
But do you
What
know
means-
why we are like against it now? Because we are always targets. Every time we leave the house, we are always scared of ourselves.
And that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And those are criminal elements. Those are criminal
You when
elements.
you leave the house are usually like, Naniki, no mtu akiniangalia. Me by there I look
Even
because
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, when
Because
you're
I'm gonna
walking
look
in
at
town,
what- Yes.
your head is constantly on a swivel because you know, Niaze, my phone is here. I spent like 200 G's on my phone. My phone is here. I have to protect it.
you're protecting your phone.
Your
Guess
phone.
what? I'm protecting my
You,
body.
I have to do the same.
I'm
Let me
protecting
tell you
my
something.
boobs,
Mwizi
my ass,
akikuja
my
kwako,
everything.
mwizi akikuja kwako in town, hata kudunga kisu. Mimi ninadungwa alafu ndio naambiwa toa kila kitu.
Unadungwa juu una hesitate.
Now this is where here's where now.
Sikiza sasa hii mtu
Wait,
akiatu justify.
wait. This is where double standards come, and the double standards are messed up. For the women, your bodies are under threat. That we don't dispute. But for men, we can also be killed. So
My life is under
both
threat.
of them, there's a threat element for each of us. You lose your money, you might be stabbed, you might be killed. This doctor who was killed the other day. Why are people not talking about him? You're strangled.
They're talking.
Yes,
Are
but
you
you're strangled.
guys-
It's
When
just
you're
because
walking-
these cases are more.
When
But
you're
that's
walking
the
in
sad
town
thing.
or
No,
whatever,
they have
are
been
you-
given more prominence. Men are fine.
No, it's
There was
'cause
a
that's- it's
guy
just one guy.
in
No.
Isili who was stabbed. No, guys, that's why I told you guys. If you look at the statistics anywhere in the world, men are more prone to violent crime.
Yes.
Men are more prone to being killed during the commission of a crime. You know why?
Yeah,
Because
that's
as a
true.
criminal, I know this guy can fight back.
Yes, that's
so I have to eliminate that threat. I have to neutralize that threat, right? With a woman, usually the crime will be, okay, you know what? If nakuibia labda nikudaredare, which is not right. But you're getting. If you're in town, the guy just says, nipe, and you'll give him. If it's a guy and it's in town,
He'll try and fight.
you'll crap your pants.
Have you
It's
ever-
because you're fighting that person. Where
No, there are times you don't
No,
fight.
there are times the guy just comes with a piece of wood, a piece of a metal bar, and he
Have you ever seen a
nyongas
chick
you,
being
strangles you.
pick out and get her? They are never done
They
for
are
that.
not people and get
Yeah.
up.
That's what I'm saying. The
The
double standard is
criminal
there for a reason.
element exists.
What were you going to say,
And the
Sharon?
unfortunate,
My question was for you guys. When you're walking in town, are you usually catcalled? Because it starts with the small things. Like every time we are targets.
of everything. We're targets of our
Verbal,
phone, our body.
You know, it's just because men don't notice these things. Because I'm sure a large percent of you guys, if you actually think about it, you'll know that whenever you pass by street families, those families where it's mamas and kids, and as a guy you pass by, they usually say, kimevaa fiti lakini hakina kakitu. Brother, father, nipe kitu. Hawezi kuona kaivo na una kakitu. Nipe.
Achakwambia size yangu. That's not catcalling.
Yo, they talk about you. They talk about you. Yo, it's a chokoraz, man.
Achakwambia ati bro hiyo kitu umebeba ni
Hakunanga decorum. Even I was telling you, even at the club, guys get shikashquad. It's just that it doesn't happen to all the guys. It's not every guy's reality, but it happens. It happens.
And let's add something more. The criminal element, as far as violent crime, more men are there. There's not even
Yes.
about it. So guys
Yes.
should understand that. So that threat you're facing, it makes sense. But the thing is, you're an easier target than I am. Please realize that.
Yes.
That is the reason. So this person is not doing it because
Also, the subgroup, as you're saying, of men who would ideally target other men for sexual harassment because they are gay is small.
It's small.
Already in society, such a group is small. Lakini, I can guarantee you, ukienda Mombasa na mtembe on the beach usiku, I know this happened to me. Guys came and told me, I'm saying, this place is not easy ati movie ati mnatembea ati moonlight kwa beach. Utafirwa mwanaume. Imagine a nigga tells me that.
Yeah.
A whole me as big as I am. And I was with a shorty I was dating at the time.
As what?
As big as I am.
Oh.
Like real, true story.
I
True
don't
story.
know we're gonna smile during this topic, Kidogo.
No, like true story.
Celebrity.
What I'm saying is, all of these things happen. Like you're saying, it's overwhelmingly men because men are strong enough to impose their will, to take what they
And
want.
we're not defending
Right?
that behavior. We're just saying
It is also in men's nature to be predatory, to be hunters. Not predatory in the sense of a
Predator.
pest. No, but to be hunters. So naturally, they will hunt to get what they want. And sometimes what does that look like? It looks like them imposing themselves on a woman. It looks like them imposing themselves on a man.
Yes.
On a man as well.
by stealing.
These stories happen.
Yeah.
It's just that a man can't come out and say, yo, by the way, me, walinifanya ile kitu.
Then it's time to come out. So, as in, how will we help you?
Those-
How will we help
Let
you?
me- can
Because
I be
we are
honest-
asking you to help us.
Can I be honest with you? That type of shame, most men cannot recover from it.
Ah,
And it
okay.
becomes worse when you speak about it. Women group up. That's something else you guys have to realize. When you want men to group up to condemn an issue, men are not like that. We don't even group up for each other. So you want us to group up for you. We don't do that.
Like it's
Damn.
outside of our nature.
It's outside of our nature.
What also guys can do is, yes, I believe lending your voice to tell guys stop targeting mamas when it's appropriate at a time like this when there's an outcry. Hey, why not? Just say, okay, cool. I mean, okay, cool. Like this is a common sense thing. I shouldn't have to tell guys common sense things, but we live in a world where, as I said, low IQ. So yeah, since I have to spell it out, don't grape. Grape is bad. Don't do it.
And
if
if
he
you
says
meet-
no, leave her
And we
alone.
meet someone who has those type of like opinions. There's a guy we worked with once who thought it was normal.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Like the guy used to say, like, dem akikuja kwako, see, she knows what's insinuated, right? So
Lazima
yeah.
yes.
And as guys actually said, no, like, no, that
You guys
That
have to tell
shouldn't
me
make
who this
sense,
is
bro.
after this because
We
He
had
was
to
an
actually-
intern before you were there.
We had to actually set him straight and turn.
there's no way. It's not like him after me, so I
true.
have to know
So,
this.
yeah. But yeah, anyway, my thing is this. Me, what I'm going to teach my daughter is very, very simple. I'm going to teach my daughter, listen, step lightly, always have your head on a swivel, be aware of your surroundings.
Actually, Chim, you've
Do
gone to
not
that
trust
thing.
anyone.
You've gone to that thing of
Well, I mean,
We're concluding.
yes, that thing of how can women help themselves.
We're
no, like
we've
it's actually blended into everything now. To the point where I'm just saying, I'll teach my daughter, there are some men. Imagine there's a guy who actually sleeps, wakes up, breathes. How am I going to victimize you? How am I going to take advantage of you? Be it using pills, be it using force. How am I going to take advantage of you? You understand?
You're doing your career strategies.
That's what he's spending his time doing. That means I equally have to invest as much time teaching my daughter certain places, avoid. Certain things, avoid. You can't go out ulewe kwa bar vijinga. It's like me leaving my phone on the bar. It's going to go. On the counter, it's going to go. You're getting? Security starts with you. It starts with you and me. If you feel unsafe, find a guy somewhere and mwambie cheki, I don't feel safe. Let me just stand here and make my phone calls.
Even you can find many ladies in a corner, talk to them. A group of ladies tell them, I'm not okay right now, please help me, and whatever. And even I have to add something. Just go on. I've lost my train of thought. In advising ladies, what can they do?
Okay, so first, before I advise ladies, I would like to talk about self-love and mental health, because it seems to be one of those triggers or what is like pushing them to do that. So like people need to love themselves. When you love yourself, you'll have the esteem. Even if someone rejects you, you're not going to be like, if I can't have you, no one will, things like that. And also with mental health, I think the whole thing is people are sick in here. So I think the government or the initiatives need to do something to maybe have more affordable therapy sessions and all that. Yeah.
Even free.
Yeah. There is already free with should I mention?
Yeah.
There's already free with Red Cross, so maybe many more.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a toll-free number.
Let me give out my point. See, we can go a bit further.
So we are finishing.
Yeah, we can still add a bit more. For me, advice to ladies is security starts with you. In terms of when you're doing driving classes, you're normally told, assume everyone else on the road is...
It's crazy.
It's crazy. I don't know why we're not taking that into this whole experience. You're dealing with men. There are crazy men out there. Before you go to a man's home, I think you should do some serious vetting, because the problem we face right now is two ladies who are murdered going to rental apartments.
And these men are all strangers to them.
Thank you.
No, but you guys also are aware that a large percent, like overwhelming majority percent of women who are raped by people either they know or are acquainted with, either like ex-lovers or they're acquainted with the nigga in the friend zone. So it's the nigga in the friend zone, it's the neighbor.
I was not dealing with that one.
Your uncle.
I was dealing with this one of being killed.
Wow.
I was doing this one of being killed person. That's a major one right now. And the truth is, most of these guys were strangers to these ladies. What I was just saying is...
Stranger danger.
Yes, one of the things is, we used to know this when we were young. It used to be preached. Before you go out to someone or you deal with someone like that, you're going into an intimate setting, I think you will do a lot more vetting. Even if you have to have your female friends involved, you do a lot of, in essence, be paranoid about your security. Be paranoid. Because you cannot leave your security or your safety in someone else's hands. This person does not owe you anything. They're a stranger. Put it in your own hands. Again, you're driving, everyone else on the road is mad. Use that same scenario in this one. This is my life. I can die if I end up with a wrong man.
I'd say this simply because you know ultimately that it's people that you know who will attack you. Make sure the guys closest to you, your father, your brothers, let them know and help you vet for the men that are around, even your friends. Bring them around your family, let your dad meet and vet. Because I can tell a nigga who's in the friend zone and is itching to break out of the friend zone, right? You probably can't tell. I can. If you're my sister, I'm going to tell you, even if you're my sister, I'm going to tell you, this guy of yours, your homie, but this guy, he's off. He is off. You're getting? ultimately, the unfortunate truth is, as we said, if someone lives, eats, breathes, sleeps attacking you, you'll have to go the extra mile of protecting yourself as best as you can and hope for the best.
And even another thing I have to add, this is gonna be crazy. Avoid going to these apartments for now. Chill out. And that will affect some people's businesses, I know. But if you can find a safer way, if you can even get what Count Williams played as in Boondocks.
Oh, he's given a shower advice over here to get a pimp.
A PNP. If you need to do that, because some of these people who go to do, you're in that rental apartment because that is your business. We don't want these people dying because you met a criminal. I'm not justifying the criminal's behavior, but I'm also saying save yourself. Avoid that. That's the reason actually why those pimps used to be at the times, to protect these women.
Also as a guy, because I feel this has to be said, if I'm going to say guys are like you, then maybe don't assume common sense is very common.
Yeah.
Bro, akikukataa amekataa.
Bro, that's the thing.
Keep it pushing.
Also, for those being killed in relationships or marriages, in courtship, if you see red flags, run. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even the way you had said, kujipenda, like just understand, you don't have to, if these red flags you're seeing them in this person, you don't have to be in a relationship. Like, achana no, just move. Utapata somebody else elsewhere.
So, the red flags are as simple as, when nitakupiga, nitakuua, something of that. Yeah.
Even me, I'm usually saying, you see that banging? When somebody we're arguing and then you bang something.
Yeah.
You bang the door, you bang the table. Me, I just know this one. Kama sio mlango next time leo ni mlango kesho ni mimi. Anyway, for me I just say it's people are not the way you think you're mentally okay, the way you think this thing is wrong, the next person, even Chim, we don't agree on the same things. What I believe is wrong, he doesn't believe is wrong. What I believe is right, he doesn't believe is right. I'm not talking about this context anyway, but in life. So don't always assume that this person knows, like where vile tu unaambiwa na Zola, this person, people out here are crazy. Period. People out here are crazy. Yeah, not everybody has that. And maybe I'm usually telling people one thing. Before I get to your house as a man, or if I've dated you, you can attest, it takes so long.
So, omuding happens at your dates?
No, it doesn't happen. Like, it takes so long. Maybe to tender all the possible dates, like, I'll make sure I'm very, and then inakujua, and me, I'm a person who asks a lot of questions. I will ask you all the questions. I want to know where you work.
Ushaifa your next stand?
Majis Jai. I've never.
Kwani tulikuwa na wewe? Yeah. That advice you're giving is solid advice.
Yeah, like don't just jump in because you've met somebody today and you like this person and they've taken you out for 2 dates. The next thing he's like, you can come home and cook for me. When you tell me that, you will never hear of me again. The other thing, and I said it again sometime here, when you're going out with somebody and they've approached to even on these dating sites, because now they're making it look like dating sites are a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. People have found marriages there. But if you meet somebody there, please go to where you're comfortable. Me, I'm always telling people, I take people to the one place. There's one place I take all, okay, not all. Hey, I look like I go on many dates. But I take people to that spot because in that place, from the bouncer knows me, the waiter is the same person. Like, I'm aware, these people are aware. And I'll tell the waiter, bro, only send me meet mara kwanza. Of course, when you know. So in case of anything, karada. You know? Like, make sure you take somebody where you're comfortable.
Hey, Lily,
just be sure everything is for your own benefit. That's all I'll tell you. Like, don't just ingia box of it. And if you're in the industry of getting the money out of it, but I have no problem with you, honey. Get the bag. If that's the way you feel like it's good for you to get the bag. But also,
tell people the truth. You tell people how you go to Dubai to eat kaka, you eat poo, you eat nyef.
Okay,
don't glamorize.
Like in a shower, I don't know how to advise these people because the sad thing, I think also having a pimp or having a constant. There's a story they used to do in Naivasha. They used to have like it's a whole, not this, what are they called? Motels. So that motel is just for that business. So even the receptionist knows that wanakujanga kufanya hiyo kitu. So if you're that person, make sure you have a constant place you're taking this man.
Or even you guys, you group up. You group up, you become a gang, mnasaidiana.
Kama vile wanasaidiana. Mnasema hapo ndo tunapeleka hawa say. Kama unataka hii biz twende mimi nitakupeleka pale nitakudo.
Solutions.
I have nothing to tell. I have nothing to tell.
No. Listen. I do not agree with Ashao, but the thing is this. Death
It's
is
there.
not death is it's there, and death is not something we condone and we're happy about.
It's so
These people
sad.
can actually save their lives, because at the end of the day, this is someone's sister.
Yeah.
This is
Mother.
someone's mother.
This part of the conversation has become preachy. I think this is a good point to just end it. Guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your opinions on the subject matter. Huko chini kwa comment section mazee.
Our most serious topic.
Juu hapa naona tumeingia kanisa.
Na ukikata when they refuse, you will be refused.
Yeah. It's been real, guys.